Aloha viewers, this is Acid Root, so we're gonna get a little bit further in Wario Blast. I know this is basically a lengthy project, for folks who may have been itching to see this since 2015, but here's another segment in the saga, and luckily from this most recent gameplay segment I did, there's only World 7 and World 8 left to do, so I think if I just have enough nerve to really get that done, I should be able to beat the rest of this game lickety-split. So let's get to it, huh? And, but unfortunately, in episode 11, we're not going to quite see the completion of World 6, but we do get to the boss. So, it's been since winter since I touched this game. I decided to do Sonic the Hedgehog 2 instead. Kind of got waterlogged with it, and it was just kind of detracting, but I don't know. I mean, when I first started playing all these Game Boy games like 6 years ago, I really thought that was gonna be what this channel was about, but I realized that the Super Nintendo was more fun, and then the PlayStation 1 was difficult to beat those games, so I didn't really have like a lot of choices left to really do, but I'm just gonna kind of stick to my guns and kind of barrel forward in this, despite the fact of not really having like a ton of games to really do. I'm still kind of struggling with Super Punch Out, and I'm trying to figure the direction I'm going to go with that. That's as of recent. I mean, those are the only games I did beat. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 back in April, and then I started Donkey Kong Country 2, which is coming. But yeah, it's just a mixture of things. I'd say eventually we'll get some Final Fantasy VII in there. That's going to be like another 6-year project or something, but we'll see how it goes. So, but yeah, just kind of based upon that. So, the main trick, I feel like this world would be almost undoable if it weren't for the fact that you can ram your opponents with the motorcycle. It probably would make things so much more difficult. But just pressing the B button, I think it's the B button, I don't know what it is on the Game Boy, but on the Super Nintendo it's the B button. And it lets you stun your enemies, and that's about the only way you can really hurt them, just because they can kick the bombs, and so you can't trap them. So I mean, honestly, Bomberman is not that difficult when you know how to trap the enemies, but with the bomb kick that they just automatically have, it makes it way more difficult. So, yeah, you're definitely going to want to use that ram attack. And then, of course, if you see those snowman characters, like the non-destroyable walls, you can kind of float past. And that allows you to have extra tricks, so it makes it more difficult for you to get trapped. Which is handy. I mean, that's the thing, but just don't forget about it. But the thing about it is you can't turn off the motorcycle, at least not from what it seems. So that means you're going to be going quickly, and the slightest wrong move can result in an explosion that causes you to lose a life. So it is what it is, but I felt like this world was relatively easy minus the boss. It doesn't have that much skill set to it, which is surprising because the last world really pissed me off. But that just kind of happens to be the main thing there, is just trying to say that. But really, you should make short work of these guys, not within the realm of saying anything else. So I kind of wish I had more Game Boy games to kind of mess around with. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what else I could do. I mean, this is probably one of my favorite Game Boy games. I wouldn't think about doing some of the other ones. I thought about doing like Final Fantasy Legend or something, but that's if I could actually beat that game. I tried doing Link's Awakening, and that's pretty difficult within itself. I mean, that takes a lot of effort. That basically is like a pocket-sized version of A Link to the Past, which, obviously that's one of the better Super Nintendo games, so that kind of lets you know that that sort of stuff is lengthy. So that's kind of the thing there. Yeah, I don't really know the direction. I mean, I still have Punch Out and Donkey Kong to kind of mess around with, but as per usual, I don't have like an abundance of games I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with. I don't think I'm going to go back and play Super Mario Land 2 or something like that. And of course, coronavirus is still going crazy. Since the last episode that I did in March, I mean, basically the Delta variant is now running rampant, and that's kind of the thing there. And we're almost on the cusp of getting ready to have like another lockdown or something. So just kind of like hell. So, yeah. I mean, obviously for viewers of like the 2015 episodes, it's like, yeah, look at all this stuff that's happened. So, but I just feel like there needs to be somewhat of a check-in, this kind of float with the regular times. But yeah, these Warios are bastards because they're smart. I mean, the AI is actually smart. I mean, for the most part, it's smart. I'm not going to say it makes every move perfectly, but they are pretty good about making sure they don't get trapped. But they do also pick up the poisons. They will go for those. So you definitely want to destroy them when you see them, because chances are they're going to get them and then they'll infect you after that. And it makes it difficult for you, and it's just kind of a bastard. So I always try to destroy them as soon as I see them. See, just like that. I mean, he didn't have to get that skull power up, but he did, because he knew it would give me a hard time. So I'm just like, nope, I ain't doing it. Well, we both died, so that's not good enough for this game. You can't both die. You can't have a noob kill. So you gotta defeat these assholes and survive. So yeah, so when I beat World 6, I saw that there was something that said that there's an Easter egg in World 7. And I think it's just, I'm not for certain if I'm actually going to go for it, but I get the feeling it's just the 5656 code that's in most Bomberman games that allows you to have, like, you know, when the time limit starts to run low, the walls start falling on you and you die by the time it gets to 0. That's what I'm guessing that the Easter egg is. I mean, for 1994, I mean, just the fact that there is an Easter egg is good, but I figure that that's probably what it is. I mean, this is a pretty extensive game because this actually is a 4-player video game. I mean, you can link 4 Game Boys, I would think, and be able to play with 3 other people besides you. But I mean, really, that's probably one of the few Game Boy games that could do that. That's pretty props to that, just in that sense. But yeah, I get the feeling it's just the 5656 code. I mean, I could look it up just for further information, but I just don't know what sort of secrets could be in this game. So I definitely don't think there's any extra worlds or something like that. So, but these Warios are morons. I mean, I know I just said that they're not stupid, but they're trying to be deceitful. So they keep trying to get the skulls to kind of make it more of a problem, but I mean, in some cases, I mean, I don't feel like these guys are like lemmings to the point where they are trying to be suicidal, but it does kind of feel like if they're going to try to kill, they might try to knock themselves out to kill you in the process. So I mean, just be aware of that, just in case of like some extra sneaky tactics, because once again, the game doesn't care if you beat them and you die, you have to survive. So it's just kind of, I mean, I'm talking like, you know, most folks haven't said by this stage like, oh, you know, but I don't know. I mean, this is kind of, I mean, for future viewers who do find this channel, I mean, because the channel is slowly growing. I mean, it's mostly the rundown that's getting most of the attention, but I do kind of have like some extra things that are kind of slowly getting progress. So this is kind of, I mean, that's just the thing, is almost 10,000 hits on the rundown video. This is in a league of its own, but unfortunately so many other things on the channel are in pissant territory. But I don't know, I just have the most kind of off-balance stats on this channel. It's just strange as far as that's kind of concerned. Seems like my movies are doing better, but every single time I try to do more movie commentaries, I just wind up not being in the mood for it. I was going to do like Die Hard like a couple months ago, but just didn't really see the point. So yeah, don't forget about the ram trick, or the, I don't know what they call it, like the pile driver. I mean, Wario had a pile driver move, but body slam. They're also pretty smart about putting bombs in front of you that it doesn't look like you can kick. He can kick. Alright, time for the boss. And this boss is kind of a bastard, like I was saying. There's a certain trick. Now, I thought at the beginning that you had to attack him. The only way you could hurt him was when he was trying to attack you, but that's actually not how you hurt him. So, I mean, honestly, when you hit him with the bombs, he stores the energy, and his ass gets bigger, and then eventually he explodes, and then he is stunned, and then you have to put a bomb and then hurt him. So, but you don't have to do that as many times because there's only a 100-second time limit, but it kind of, it may not come to you right away to think to do that. That's kind of the thing, but, yeah, so when his ass is the largest and he's about to explode, you don't actually have to use a bomb to make him explode. He will explode on his own, but, you just have to make sure you're out of range because you don't want to die because they'll set off your bombs too. So I didn't realize that in the first several minutes. This is kind of the thing, so. But another trick is when you press the A button twice, you lay like a row of bombs rather than just one, and that really helps with this boss. I feel like this is probably one of the most effective times to do it. Doesn't quite help with the Warios or your opponents, but it definitely helps with this character. That's about the only way, just because he weaves. I mean, all of these bosses know how to weave through these stages, and they keep doing it. So, you might just want to skip to part 12, because that's where I start to figure out how to defeat this guy. So there's still like another 6 or 7 or... I mean, after this episode, there's probably still another 6 minutes of me fighting this asshole, but we will get to World 7 in part 12, so... Yeah, so some of these are just starting to be longer than 15 minutes, so I'm just kind of trying to figure out as far as what to do. But I was kind of getting pissed off. I mean, as usual, this game pissed me off 6 months ago. It's pissing me off now. But, it's kind of... I am going to eventually beat this game. I mean, I've beaten it. I've beaten this game back when I was like 10, 11, 12. But I haven't touched this game probably since like 2002 or something like that. And, you know, I think I told that story as to how I borrowed this game and broke my Game Boy because I got so mad at it. That was just back when I was 12, you know, headbutting the damn Game Boy. But, you know, this is kind of, that's the thing. It's just, I don't know. I mean, really, the Game Boy is just like the NES in terms of like those types of games. I mean, it just has so many type things that just make it extremely difficult. Like, I don't think I could ever beat Operation C on my own. Probably, I mean, maybe if I had like enough practice and really went in on it, but it's just really a bastard. Especially if it's not 2 players, that makes it even worse. But, yeah. Really, Operation C, all that game is just the Game Boy version of Super C for the Nintendo. I think, anyways, that's what it seemed like. Basically the same concept. Just, you know, I mean, back in those days, Contra Portable was state of the art, so they didn't feel like they needed to do anything else. It's kind of the same thing with Donkey Kong Land. I mean, that was just, I mean, I suppose they did have different versions of that one for the first one, but Donkey Kong Land 2 was just based on Super Nintendo ones. So, but yeah. So, yeah, I'm just trying to, I really want to find more games to play, but the problem with it is, I just feel like I'm losing some of my dexterity. I mean, maybe not with like Super Punch-Out, but just with a lot of these fucking games and shit, it just starts to feel like I was better at these games like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's like, well, I shouldn't be losing that. I can still mess with these games. Yeah, I'm starting to figure it out now, so stay tuned for part 12. You know, hopefully it won't be another 5 or 6 months. I'm just trying to really kind of figure out how I'm going to go about with this game, just because it's not so much, like, every single game, I just feel like the tricks just get that much nastier in, like, the last 5%. So we'll see. Just stay tuned for part 12. Subscribe.